morning, everyone, or actually good afternoon. It's actually
Yeah.
afternoon. It's our first afternoon Talking Horses.
I know.
Could be the only afternoon Talking Horses we have.
Very well, might be.
She's Acacia Clement. I am Andy Serling, and we start week number 2 here at Saratoga.
Yeah.
Acacia, though, I don't know, your week never really ended because Acacia made the big trip to Finger Lakes.
We did, yeah. We had
Got a party bus.
party bus to watch Pandagate in the New York Derby on Monday. Thankfully, it was a very fun trip home celebrating.
Means you won.
But yeah, it was. We had a great time. I mean, just a really, really fun group of owners and a lot of people there. We did not fit in the Finger Lakes winner circle. We had to take the photo on the track.
They should have built a bigger
Yeah.
one if you had told them you were coming.
I know. Well, it was kind of a last minute thing to do the party bus, so I'm glad we did. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I heard.
He's
I heard
a
some,
very,
I heard
very
some stories.
cool horse. So fun to
Acacia
see him
may
back.
or may not have behaved herself. I'm not going to really get into anything further about that. And what went on the party bus stays on the party bus.
That's right.
You got to see our friend Anthony Stabile calling the races there as well.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
My
nice
first time
day.
to Finger Lakes, so I can check that off the list, and then hopefully we'll see Panda next time in the Albany.
Good. Looking forward to
Yeah.
that. He won. He beat Doc Sullivan, who's been in
Yeah.
great form, and some nice horses actually. It was a good week for the New York breds. It often is with the winner of the Sanford being a New York bred as
Yes,
well.
Moplex.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. Looking forward to hearing more about your trip there. We've got 8 races today, as of
That's
course
for off the air
with the
later.
rain. Yes, we don't want to. She gets a little crazy. I don't want
Me.
to. We are off the turf. We got. I did not realize how much it rained. I'm like brain dead. It was so fast.
Wild.
And I actually fell asleep after I slept for a while in my apartment before I went to dinner. And when I went out at I walked downtown to get dinner at like
Yeah.
7:15. There weren't a lot of puddles. It's
It
amazing
went
how
from being gorgeous and sunny to torrential downpour coming sideways. Things are flooding, tree limbs. It's pitch black outside, and then it was sunny again.
Yeah,
it was wild.
I lost power for about seconds in my
Yeah,
apartment, and
we
then
did. I
the
had
rest
all
was
my
fine.
candles out. I was ready. We never lost
Really?
power. Yeah.
No, I knew when my landlord called me at dinner about 9:30. I knew it wasn't. I said this can't be good news, thinking I didn't burn the place down, did I? And he said we were out with power. He left me an electric light to use, but I got it was back on by 11:50, 11:30. It was interesting. I was walking within a half a block of where I live. There was power.
Yeah.
And then it just sort of died at that point. But in Saratoga, you can have like one side of Caroline Street's got power and the other
Yes.
side doesn't. It's different grid. Anyway, we're all good, but we are off the turf, unfortunately, and Acacia takes the blame for that. She's 0 for 2 with turf racing.
It's either me or it's Be Your Best. Who it
Be
seems
your best,
for
yeah.
Be Your
It
Best
could be
every
Horacio.
time
It could be Horacio de
she
Paz.
runs. It could be Horacio.
Horacio de
too.
Paz.
Yeah.
He's an easy man to blame. Anyway, but we do have 8 starting with race 2. First post time will be around 1:44. We'll head over to Naira Bets and get to work on that. Actually using the other set for the first time. Lafitte, Rajiv, and I will be over
We
there.
used it for the harness show
You
on
did-
Saturday
really?
night. Yeah.
A little spooky over there, isn't
It was a little spooky. Yeah, it was. But I had cameraman Gavin and Paul Verderosa. So,
Really?
yeah.
Johnny didn't make the whole...
No, he did not.
No,
Veronica was
12
there,
hour
and
shit.
she's the real muscle. So.
Oh, she
yeah.
is. She is
Yeah.
without question. She's the brains and the muscle of our entire operation. She's really everything. Without Veronica, I don't know where we'd be. Anyhow, head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member of Naira Bets, use the promo code SPOT250 and we'll match up to $250 of your initial deposit. While over there, check out the track stats. Did you get involved in the big Assiniboia Downs?
I did
the
not, but I
Twitter
know
Spaces?
my friend Rob McLennan. I tuned in
Well,
for a little bit.
Rob
yeah.
is the man. I
Rob
mean,
is
Rob
Rob
is
is
the
the
legend.
man of Assiniboia Downs. Yeah.
Rob is the man in general, but yes, I kind of he was a little annoyed with me because I kind of suggested to Matthew to use Rob, but I think Rob ended up having fun. Of course, Rob works in the racing office and does so many things around here. He's even been on Talking Horses a couple times and did well. But Rob has a great opinion. Excellent. Probably one of the best opinions at the entire racetrack,
Yeah,
frankly.
agreed.
Track stats, you'll check them out. We have a $10 bonus, $50 each on Saratoga and Delaware Park. $10 win or lose if you opt in, bet 50 on each, 50 or more each. And the show, 2 to 6 today on FS2. We'll be on the YouTube channel, though, from 1:30 to 2 to catch that race number 2. And race number 2, this was not the race we expected to see a bunch of scratches.
No.
And the problem in race number 2 is maybe Save Time, has finally found a race that she can't help but win. And listen, she's run fast enough to win. The mile and eighth shouldn't be a problem. But I got to tell you, she's getting a little tiresome.
She is. She was Heavy favorite last time out, 40 cents to the dollar with the addition of blinkers, and she still was second best. The winner did wire the field, but
And ran big.
and she ran really, really well that day. But it just kind of feels like, and you and I have talked about this before, with barns like Chad Brown, the more they run and don't win, it's a negative for them because they're not the types of barns that expect to have horses sitting around for 4 or 5 starts just trying to break their maiden.
Any top barn, whether
Yeah.
it's the Clements or it's Todd Pletcher or Brad Cox
Yeah.
or Steve Asmussen, it's like every single loss is a black mark, and
Yes.
it just gets worse and worse and worse as time goes on. And she may well win here because you've got Refuse to Lose, and we'll take a look at her. Horacio De Paz, speaking of a man I like to make fun of, not as much as your father-in-law likes to make fun of him.
He does. He does love to abuse
Yeah, that's all right. Horacio will get the best of him. I think this horse is pretty good. Horacio has good stretch-out numbers overall. And I guess as a Union Rags, there's no reason she can't. This is a very odd horse because the second dam is Leslie's Lady, the dam of Into Mischief and Beholder, and such a terrific family. And this horse sold for only $30,000. Well, she's worth a lot more than that now as a broodmare. And I guess she's logical stretching out, but you and I played against her.
She is, she is interesting because, like you said, it took till her 4-year-old season for her to debut as well with a very modest price tag, given that huge pedigree, and especially for a filly, too. If nothing else, she has value as a broodmare. And so that audacious race, we've talked about it, did fall apart. She was able to close, but I thought that she did improve a lot from first to second start. We saw the other heavy favored part of the entry and Chanteuse come back and run poorly the other day in a maiden special weight race.
Silvology did not run well, and Silvology was
did
closed into
not.
that race
Yeah.
and didn't run well the next time out.
Yeah.
So there's 2 Todd Pletcher horses, both of whom have only run on the turf. The one I picked on top twice, and the one that ran once is the one that you took in here. Give me your story on Fade to Gray.
I don't have much of a story. I just was looking for an alternative to save time and Refuse to Lose, and the 2 Todd Pletchers did look a little intriguing. This filly was one that took some money first time out because she'd been working so fast on the main track in preparation, and it was one of those horses that she had no pedigree, debuting for Todd Pletcher, fast workouts. Why is she debuting on the turf? What are you going to get from her? And now we see her trying the dirt for the second time, and maybe she is one that just needs distance, but thought I'd take a stab with just one who's lightly raced.
I went with the other one who I thought had a little bit more of a pedigree. Is it's Motor something. It's a Bruce Levine horse that ran here the other day as a half of this horse that's not bad on the dirt.
Oh, yeah. It's a good dirt sprinter.
Motorcade, is it?
Something like that,
Something like
yeah.
it was like the 10 horse here the
Yes.
other day, I
Yeah.
think. And I thought maybe this horse would be forward with Manny Franco. So, like you, looking for alternatives, we went with relative unknowns, and we'll see what happens with those 2 horses right now. The one that you've taken is taking much more play. We'll see what happens in race number 1, where Save Time might just find herself in a race where she sort of can't help but win, but she's getting a little tiresome. Race number 3. What did you do in race number 3?
Well, I do think that the number 1, Viamente, the Joe Sharp 2-year-old who you take is very intriguing, especially just based off of the fact that she's Bacoma.
Why I took her in the fast works.
Yeah, I mean, it's very fast workouts. I did notice, though, that Joe Sharp with 2-year-old first-time starters at Saratoga is just 2 for 21. One was on the turf and one was on the
last
dirt.
year. One was
last
an auction
year.
race last year, I think.
Yes,
Took
but
a lot of money.
yes.
I think it was a 3 Diamond source. Now I think about it, I'm not sure, but I think it might have been.
Possibly, yeah. But Bacoma's 10 for 23 with starters, 8 for 18 with first-time starters, which is just incredible. So a lot of respect for that one. But I wanted to take just a little bit of a shot against, and I watched the recent workout of Bellicose, the 7 on XBTV, going much better than her workmate. I thought that she finished really well. There's some pedigree for this one in the second dam, who won the Schuylerville, and Bana is the second dam. And Jeremiah Englehart with 2-year-olds saw him win, as you mentioned, with Moplex just this weekend.
I've got this horse in the mix as well. Obviously, you had much more information than we. I had Practically Summer second, the Practical Joke runner. The dam herself was sort of okay. The second dam okay. She's produced, though, 4 foals that have done no running, really, to speak of.
Right. Yeah, there's not much. The dam is the sister to Zevo and Beautiful Lover, both of whom were just better going much longer. So I'm curious what we'll get from this one debuting here.
Yeah, I just went to Vehement, went on the Vacoma angle with that one.
Yeah.
That the runners have come there. I mean, a lot of this is a lot of guessing. You had more work with the workouts to go on with me. We'll see what happens in race number 3. Race number 4, I thought this was a bit of a tricky race, to be honest with you, and I see that we do have the same picks in here. Where are you going with Pebble Lane?
So I I thought I was being very creative. Every time I do this, Andy, I think I'm going to have this great kind of creative pick. I have a price source, I have my angle, and then I look and Andy has the same horse
Usually
in his
means
picks.
they lose.
And I said, this must mean that I just spend too much time with Andy Serling. But yes, this
That's
is
anything over 10 minutes, in case anybody's wondering. And that's a stretch at 10.
this is a horse was on the bench for a long time, came back on turf, did no running. It was a horse that actually took a lot of money against significantly tougher back last year. The blinkers go back on. I just think they're being logical. They waited. Obviously, she didn't come back the same way. They're just putting her in a spot where she can win, and she's a better dirt horse.
I agree. I felt like the turf race might have been a half a prep for her, maybe take a shot. She handled it
Yep.
early in the season, but also just to get her race under her belt and running here. I'm a Dave Duggan fan, so I took
too.
her. I have nothing against Sharper Gal. We'll take a look at her at Churchill Downs 2-back. She feels like she's the speed, but the thing about her is this effort at Churchill Downs we're looking at here is really an aberration. She wins easily, but it's much faster than any other race she's ever run. And I'll tell you what, the last race she was in, that was not a killer field.
Right, and she was favored in there too. I mean, obviously she broke her maiden by 6 3/4. That was for 20. So the drop down to 16 today after trying starter allowance company today just makes sense. Last time out, I thought that she also was wide as well. She never got to save ground. So maybe that was a little bit of a piece of it too, but it was disappointing. And same thing, I think they're just going back to basics with her.
I want to look something up about Sharper Gal, if you don't mind. I need to look at some
Okay.
PPs here. I'm not reading text, but I'm actually curious about something. I want to see something about the race that she comes out of. Because I think the horse that, it's a different race, I think. No, it's not. The race she comes out of is the winner of that race. I don't know if you've looked that far in advance, but the winner of that race, Walua, is coming back on Friday. And this is a Saffie Joseph horse that broke 5 lengths behind the field and still
Yeah.
made the lead by the first quarter. So it was a better horse. I don't know the rest of the field really was, but that horse ran very impressively. Yeah, I mean, I thought she was perfectly logical. I had another replay to show of Malu, and this is a few back for Malu on March 29th when she won. And I guess she's dangerous. She ran a big figure 2-back, and she is turning back in distance. She seems like a logical horse as well, though I put her third. Did you have anyone in there?
I did. I had her fourth, I believe. Yes, I did. I had her fourth. We have the same 4 horses in here. Same thing with her. Broke her maiden for 30,000 against New York breds. She does cut back in distance. It's interesting. I've always written in my notes that she looks like a horse that wants to go long, and obviously they tried that, and she just isn't. So they're going back to the basics with her as well. She was another one when she had that second place finish 2 starts back. She was second best, but they did put some separation on the rest of the field.
And she is taking a precipitous drop in here as well. Excel Arena is the horse that you have second. I have her fourth. I didn't know what to make of her
I
going
know.
turf to dirt.
She took a long time to break her maiden, and she did, and then they immediately put her back on the grass. So she's a bit of a tough read, and I guess it's just back to basics for her as well. Obviously not one that wants to run on the turf.
Yeah, I just didn't love her dirt races, but obviously
that's fair.
not impossible in this spot. The others towards the inside. I think that Permed will probably take a lot of money for Todd Pletcher, and I mean, this is a horse that really more of a turf horse that ran horrendously
Yes.
last time, and they're just sort of giving up on her, and I don't see a lot to recommend about her dirt races, but I
No.
guess in this spot she can't be considered impossible.
No, she's certainly not. I think because of that debut race where she showed speed and finished second, but I believe Status Seeker was a Rudy Rodriguez first-time starter as a 2-year-old who was just kind of ready early, and to me, Permed was just one who never really kind of developed and showed a lot, and maybe on the drop, but I preferred the others.
Little rain moving through here, nothing major
A
according to my
little
phone, but it appears
Yeah.
about 20 minutes of some showers here moving through. It is Saratoga. It's the Adirondacks. The rain comes when you least expect it. Race number 5 is off the grass here. And I want to start the conversation with our friend Ray Handelshorse, who I have on top, and I think you probably put third.
I did.
In this now 4-horse field, and there really was unlikely to be more than 3 or 4 in here. The ones that stayed in were the logical ones to stay in here. Just promised her America winning the Gazelle, and while obviously things didn't work out, I do think it's worth noting that she was on a dead rail when she ran at Monmouth on July 29th in the Monmouth Oaks. And listen, things seem to go wrong in Parks. I actually bet her at Parks in the Catherine Sophia. Ray decided to try the turf, which worked out. Sorry, it's not Ray anymore. It's
Yeah,
Horacio de
Horacio.
Paz. I apologize. And this is a pretty good dirt horse at one time, and I'm going to take her as the best dirt horse in the race.
Yeah, certainly fair. She actually ran pretty well on the turf, I thought, last time as well at Laurel, and that was off of a layoff, and she definitely has the turf foundation. She's very intriguing, getting a chance to go back to the main track, and just seeing her back on the Naira circuit as well. I did take Ichiban. She's a horse that I know.
Here's her last. We can show that. Sorry, Casey.
Sorry about that. She's a horse that won last time out in New York off of a layoff, and I know that she lately has kind of been winning at those 1.125 distances, but she's a horse that is cutting back. I thought she was very game over Sedona, who, as we've talked about, is one who was very well thought of, very highly touted as well, and she's a horse that I think has just been consistent. Obviously, kind of things tailed off at the end of 2023, and she's come back good for Linda.
No, and I mean, Linda's successful because she's opportunistic. And she's always ready in these off-the-turf races. You see it today. You saw it last week. We fortunately only came off one day, but we had 13 non-stakes last week, and she was an AE in 9 of them. So she's ready for those races. And, you know, if it unfortunately rains a lot and we come off, like last year, she's going to be ready, and it's going to really help her. And that's why she was able to tie Chad Brown for the trainer's title. I mean, it's because she's crafty and she's smart and she's prepared for these situations. And we are getting some brief shower moving through right now. My problem with Ichabod in here is I liked her last time enough. I didn't really like her last time, but her chance of winning last time was that she could wire the field.
Right.
And with Value Area in here, I just don't see her wiring the field. Value Area just seems like she has to be faster early, doesn't she?
She does, but
Who's riding Value Area, by the way?
John Velasquez.
Okay.
She does, but the in contrast to Value Area, who's stretching out and going to try to extend her speed. I know that she did finish second at a mile back in December, but Ichiban is cutting back in distance as well and has shown that she can win kind of from a stalking spot as well.
No, she can. I agree. And you should get some speed from the horse and the rail as well in here. And I don't think it's really going to compromise her, but I do feel like her performance last time may have had a lot to do with the fact that she was able to control. On the other hand, she finally came back from a layup, and she's back in form, and she had just kind of lost her form before that, and maybe Linda just gave her what was a very needed break. That's the first 4, actually. We'll come back, and we'll go through races 6 through 9.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. Acacia Clement and Andy Serling. Race number 6 off the turf. I was surprised that Wesley Ward scratched out of this race with the 4 precisely.
Yeah.
I actually found some interesting numbers for Wesley. He's not running, but he has very good numbers in off the turf maiden races. But that one's not going to play. Who knows? Maybe he wasn't going to play even if the race was on the turf. You have gone to the number 9, Street View.
I did. Is a better turf horse, but dropping in class for the first time, and you don't have a lot to go off of, just one towards the end of her 2-year-old season as far as main track form, but she ran okay, kind of chasing that day. We do see her cutting back to a sprint distance as well, and just thought that she was a horse who could potentially kind of be in the right spot, has shown a little bit of an affinity for the main track as well.
No, I saw the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's only a 52 buyer, but that's
As
a figure that could be a 65 buyer at this point in her career, and I like the turn back as well, and it's very hard to love anybody. I mean, I don't know what to say about Jenny Antonucci, entered for the turf on the rail. Okay, Brad Cox stays in with Hugh, and Hugh took a lot of money last time. I don't know if you watched that race. I even watched it for the turf, and my question was, she may just not be able to run, period, even though it's more of a turfy pedigree.
It's a turf and synthetic. The dam actually won the Del Mar Debutante on synthetic. Do you know what I questioned as well? If they really thought that the pedigree was turf, she got rained off first time. Why are
wide
you
jumper.
dropping in class right away?
It just
That
feels
was
like
the one
she's
that was a
not
bit of a
much horse.
question. Yeah.
And I'm not going to be shocked, and nor will you be if she wins
Right.
this race. But you go through. I mean, I always want to leave Charlie Baker, and I was actually going to take a shot with a 3 on the turf. It's always good to turn your phone off. This could be important, though. It's Steve checking in. I mean, where are you really supposed to go? I guess Bobby
Right.
Jean had run against, but that wasn't a very good dirt field the
Yeah.
first time. I left the John Kimmel in fourth. You have the horse third, Park Avenue Betty. The horse was at least in against significantly
Right.
better horses on the
Right.
dirt.
Much better.
But it's just not a whole lot going on in these races. And the 13, the MTO Swan, was a little tough to make. And I
Yeah.
just went to Linda Rice, so you've got her second. And I know it's a bit of a cop-out. The only thing that worried me a little bit with this horse is it's not a Linda Rice claim. It's not even a private purchase. These are the same connections that claimed her.
know.
This is a barn change to Linda Rice. And I kind of look at the ones claimed from Kentucky, and I think I want the ones that Linda wanted to claim
Yeah.
as opposed to one that's a trainer change.
Yeah, and the one time that she ran for a claiming tag was probably one of her most disappointing races. Now, it was going long, so she
Yep.
does get to stay at a sprint distance. And she did show a little bit, at least against Maiden Special Weight Company earlier in her career at Oaklawn.
Yeah, and she's run fast enough before, and I
Right.
guess the presumption is that with Linda, you'll get the better effort. I went to her a bit reluctantly here. Maybe I should have been a little bit more brave and had a horse like the 7 on Park Avenue Betty, but that's just a guess, and I didn't feel like doing that.
It's tough to take Park Avenue Betty because she was entered for the turf today as well. And there was like a little bit of turf pedigree in there, not a ton. And yes, she was a huge price in that audacious race, who we talked about earlier. So see how, I guess, Refuse to Lose runs earlier in the card as well.
I also thought she could be more forward in this race.
Yes.
She's got at least a little bit of speed. We'll see how that plays out in race number 8. Occasion I went in more logical directions, but might not be the worst race to get a little creative
Right.
and use a few if you're playing the pick 4. Especially because the 8th race, it's kind of hard to see past 1 or 2 horses in that race as we get there. Now, race number 7 was one of the more competitive races I
Agreed.
thought on today's card. And let's start out with a replay of There's a Silver Lining in number 10. And where did this last race come from, the 88 buyer? I know the horse ran an 89, a 16 clear before, but I will tell you, for whatever it's worth, I look at buyer figures in Timeform US. Timeform US has this horse about 10 points lower than buyer does
That
in
makes
both the last
sense.
2 races.
That makes sense because I don't know. I found these just a bit tough to trust. Broke really sharply last time and just pulled away easily, much the best. And I was just wondering too, there looks like there could be a fair amount of speed in this race,
I
which
agree
is a
with you.
big reason why I took a closer. And Mike Baker's other horse, has a very similar look to There's a
Deck of
Silver
Cards.
Lining, Deck of
Who we'll
Cards.
get- we can show her race at
Yeah,
Belterra
I mean-
because I know you love a race
Right.
at the old
This is a
Belterra.
Belterra race. They got an 81 buyer speed figure when she won by over 8 lengths and just
It's a
kind of
private purchase
shrugged
out of that
off
race
the
as well.
competition. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I doesn't she kind of have to go as well?
I'd love to know what they paid for her.
I don't know.
I'd actually really like to
You
know
could
what they
have gotten
paid
her
for.
for 15.
And,
back
and
in
she was coming
February.
off a 26, I'm sorry, not a 26, excuse me, I misread it, I'm sorry, a 14-month layoff for that. Still a substantial layoff. And
Right.
do I really want to trust the Belterra form to transfer here? I've got the horse 4th. You don't have her anywhere.
I know. Well,
And
I
I'm
know
not-
that she had that good Keeneland race. My big thing is just that it seems like her best races are when she's able to control, and I
That's
saw
not
other
happening here.
speed. No.
That's not happening
I think
here.
her stablemate's faster.
So
Yeah.
are the horses outside of her.
Right.
Jackie the Joker's quick.
Yep.
I mean, I've got Obregata showing speed. I don't really see that particularly here. What do you think of Obregata? I've got her second. You got 4th.
I thought that we could see a better performance for her. I mean, look, she was way over her head last time with the likes of Ways and Means in that race, but finishing 3rd at Icy Reply 2 starts back. She had a little bit of an odd trip. She was always inside, too.
Because she's a lug-in horse.
She is,
That's
and
what
it
wants to go to the
seems
rail, and
like-
I don't love the post for her.
Right, exactly. So it seemed like Jose Gomez was trying to keep her there, and she is. She's going to start lugging in pretty significantly. You see the way her head carriage is, and she got lucky because the 2 was off the rail and the stretch for her to close. But with the blinkers on, I'm curious what kind of blinkers, because Rudy does love a good extension blinker, and I'm wondering if we might see something like that.
And knowing Irad is fully aware that this is a
Yes.
lug-in type horse that
Yeah.
wants to go to the rail, and unless the blinkers make a difference or something, he's going to try to get there. I just
Yep.
wonder. I'm just not sure what to do with her. I thought she was pretty good.
Yeah.
Talk about your pick, the one I'm Buzzy. You're obviously going for a lot of pace, as horse I've liked in the past.
That's my hope. And look, she has to try to get back on track. She was claimed for 40,000. She was running against Tougher prior to that as well. But she had a little bit of a string there when she was able to close. And if she can reverse and get back into some of that form, thought that she'd be a generous price. I like to see Flavian Pratt climbing aboard and see what Gustavo Rodriguez can do with her.
I put her 5th. I don't know why I don't have her 4th over the 5 because she's a horse
She
I've
needs
liked a
setup.
lot.
She needs a setup.
But she had none last
No,
time. I
she
mean, there was
didn't.
no speed in there whatsoever in a smaller field. And in this race, yeah, I should have had her higher. I should have had her in there. She's sort of a pet of mine. And we both want to take a small shot against the 10 in here, who is the horse to beat.
Yes.
But could be an overwhelming favorite. And I like She Caught My Eye, a horse that I'll be betting on in this race. I looked up Linda Rice, 6 to 12-month races on the dirt. Her number's not great, but not terrible. But on turnback, she is 5 for 18 with 9 inning board and a $2 plus ROI. And I just look at her as a horse that's run some good races in the past, run against better horses. And maybe she's another horse that just needed a bit of a break, though this is an extensive break. But she has run against just better horses overall. And I thought she'd get the right kind of trip for Linda.
Much better in her last couple. Now, she was very disappointing at a short price back in October, but like you said, sometimes these horses, it's just, they have that extended campaign. They go through their conditions as well. The best thing to do for them is just put them on the shelf for a bit, and they come back stronger and better. Where She Caught My Eye, she's just a horse that, for me, has always been a bit tough to warm to. So I'm curious to see how she does off of that layoff, because she usually doesn't carry a lot of condition. And she also, I've written in my notes in the past that she appears to really resent kickback. So once again, with the pace scenario in here, curious of where she will be positioned.
Well, she's drawing outside.
She's drawn outside,
so she
which
should
is a
have no
benefit for
problem
her.
staying outside of
Exactly.
things and kept out of that situation. See what happens with the 9. She Caught My Eye. An interesting race. Thought this
It is very
this actually
intriguing.
probably the most interesting
Yeah,
race of today's card. Of
definitely.
course, that owes the fact that we're off the turf today. It seems like the weather, actually, it's cooled down. I mean, I know we have these air conditioners going, so it's a little hard to know. Really, in case anyone's wondering, it's not really for us. It's for Jonathan Kinchin.
Yes.
He's really the only one allowed to use the air conditioner.
Yes.
He's the guy who doesn't wear a lot of clothes, and he complains the heat more than the guys who are wearing
I'm
suits.
just saying
It's a
that
little
that winter
confusing.
circle is bright, direct sunlight with no shade and no
Oh,
place
the
to
winter
sit.
circle where you guys are,
Yes.
it gets warm down there.
It is.
Yeah, it gets warm.
toasty.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Race number 8 off the turf. And Cape Farrat, we've had some, different opinions. Turf, David probably
Right.
would have made this horse 4 to 5. I don't know about you, Keisha. I can't make a
Completely agree. The second place finisher came back to win with a 78 Beyer speed figure. There was a little turf and synthetic in the family, particularly in the
Not
second
from
generation.
Destin.
Not from Destin, no. But the second dam was Bright Abundance, who was a multiple stakes winner on the turf.
For Christophe
For
Clement.
Christophe, yeah.
I love Bright.
She was very, very
She
good.
wore those dark
Yeah.
green silks, right? I feel like she did. She had the dark
Possibly.
green silks.
I
Yeah.
don't know. It's kind of before my time. Oh, there's more rain. But yeah, I mean, she just looks like she's going to be very tough in here. She was super game. She has speed. And she just has the best dirt form. The question with some of the others in here is they've run okay in the dirt, but a lot of them for maiden claiming or for claiming races.
And even the
So-
2 was opportunistic. As
Right.
you look at the race that Sohana won on May 10th, she was the controlling speed
Yes.
in that race and just able to dominate. And this race was sort of gifted to her. And I know she's a Salamini, so she's not supposed to have problems with the distance, but I don't know about you. I just feel like Cape Farrat is a little more reliable going the mile.
I completely agree. She won Broker Maiden at 7 furlongs. She has kind of some distance pedigree with the Destin in there. And this one, I know, yes, this was a 7/8 win, but like you said, she was able to control things. And the same question goes for My Shady Lady, who's never gone further than 7 furlongs as well. And you kind of wonder if she's ever really taken a step forward from her 2-year-old season.
In fairness to her, she ran one of her better races, her last dirt race, or
She
2
did.
races back.
Dan Sunday girl.
If she can handle the distance, I even think Baroness Bourbon's not impossible
Agreed.
in here because a lot of it because we saw Caller Bluff, who beat her in nose, come back and improve dramatically. Now maybe it's just an isolated event for Caller Bluff, but I thought that was a little bit interesting.
Agreed.
But I'm like you. Cape Farrat's a short price, and I think Cape Farrat's one you sort of probably lean on. And we'll take a look at like the Lake Pick 5, which starts in race number 5. I'm going to lean heavily on Promiser America and sort of take a stand there. You obviously prefer Ichabod. I'm going to try to beat her. The 6th race, maybe you want to spread a little in there. The race 7, a bunch of horses. I'm
Very
going to use I'm
competitive.
Buzzy. You're picking there as well as my 9. I'm going to lean very heavily on Kate Farrat. And then we come to the last race, and I'm going to take a little shot in the last race against this horse, the number 15, who I've maturity date. She's probably going to win this race. We'll go 3 races back and look
We
at a race.
each had
that
a
Keen
Linda
won.
Rice main track only cop-out pick today.
Yeah,
so
I don't.
Here's mine.
You know, I don't think you're copping out. I think you're taking the very, very likely winner.
Yeah.
I know she got wired, and speed was like alternately good last time, and
Right.
it seemed like a track that ultimately was sort of fair. It was just a dichotomous track where some races played out very speedy and some races played out with closers, so I made it a fair track. I just kind of wonder a little bit if she's one that Linda Rice claimed, or she didn't get it done at 2 to 5. And I know the winner last time was a speed and ran off, another Linda horse, but I thought her last race was kind of mediocre.
She also was not able to get the job done at Keeneland for Chad Brown in April when he dropped her in for 50,000, beaten just a nose. And I mean, look, I had the 4 second, the one that you went to, and if either of the other kind of drop down runners just are a little bit stronger in here with a little bit more class, but I just felt that she'd run overall the best races.
Yeah, I have no argument with her, but as David made her 4 to 5, she's going to be a
She's
super
gonna be a
short
very
price.
short
And the more I
price.
looked at it, I thought, I don't really want to endorse her at that price. I don't have a problem
That's fair.
with saying that she's the horse to beat, because she is. And
She
she may
is.
win this race by 9 lengths and pay 340, and just the way it is. But, you know, I mean, you look at Virginie. I mean, she was running you look for Virginie for Kenny McPeak. She's running buyer figures in the 60s. I mean,
Yep.
she's running fast enough to be competitive. The thing I don't like about her and why I didn't put her on top,
very
she's
far off the
so
pace. Yeah.
slow, and she's coming out of races, her last dirt race that just fell apart.
Yeah.
So she's a little slow. I think she was a little more interesting in the turf, frankly, in here. The Taco Lady, another horse who ran near 60 buyers earlier, she's dropping down too. She's going to be a bit more forward, so I took her as the alternative. I don't have a lot of love for her. I would use 4, 5, 4, 15 here and sort of hope I can beat the favorite.
Going for Taco Wednesdays. Taco.
Is that a thing?
Did you
Taco
miss
Wednesday?
Taco Tuesday? You missed Taco Tuesday.
Well, no, I
so-
mean, I didn't have one, but Naja took me to a place in Clifton Park. Naja had a big date
Wow.
yesterday. I don't know if you know. Don't
no,
be
I did
jealous.
not hear
Don't
about
be jealous.
this.
Should have called you. We went down to Clifton Park to a
How
place
fun.
you'd seen on Instagram, had a nice lunch, and then we played a little mini golf.
Oh, that's fun.
I got to
Who
tell
won?
you, I didn't do well. I actually was over par. I had a very bad last 2 holes.
Yeah.
Naja's performance was embarrassing. I still beat him by 6 strokes.
Did you have a
There's some
camera
video.
there? Oh, good.
There's
Oh,
some
good.
Twitter
Okay,
video
okay,
of Naja on the
okay.
course. Yeah. Yeah,
I
we
was
had a big-
recovering from my
we had a-
Finger Lakes.
Yeah, we had a big afternoon. I had to go home and take a nap after it, actually. I was so
really
tired
took
out.
it out of you.
Naja, you know, he really requires a lot.
Energetic guy.
We're already planning for next week,
I
so
love
we'll
that.
let you know what we're doing next
Yeah.
week. We'll include you.
Very fun.
All right, we're done. Thank you, Acacia.
Thank you.
You were on early or late today?
I'm on early today.
All right, with me and Rajiv and Lafitte. We're going to be out in the first set. We're looking at it now. First time. They want to make us walk 'cause there's going to be a little rain, if you notice. I think it's kind of done. Close to
I
done.
think so. I hope I did not bring an umbrella. over to
It
the
wasn't
set,
that
so
bad. I don't
hopefully-
see it. No, there's nothing. It's not
Back to
nothing
my
bad.
office.
Anyway, head over to Naira Bets. No better time in the present. We're still listed as fast. I assume we are. Probably sealed at the track. I'm sure we did. And we did. I'm taking a look at it now. We'll match the $250 of your initial deposit. Use the promo code SPA250. Check out track stats when you're over at Naira Bets as well. We also have a $10 bonus. Bet 50 or more each at Saratoga and Delaware Park. Get $10 back. Opting over at Naira Bets for that. And Naja's annoyed that we're making fun of him. Yeah, he's a little mad.
You were making fun of him.
You were, in your heart, you were making fun of him, okay? Don't.
I'll tell
by the way,
Naja what his adopted father,
has he-
Christoph, always tells him. Your best is good enough.
Is he
Yeah.
still on the, well, Naja's newly married, so he probably
Yes.
hasn't been quite on the Clement meal plan. Is he still on the meal plan?
Let's see. Well, I have not. I saw Naja. We all had dinner before coming up to Saratoga. So
Yes, he is.
He's
yeah.
an honorary family member.
It's an honor to have Naja as a member of the family.
Yes,
I
it
feel like
is.
he's an honorary member of my family as well.
Yeah.
He's very popular with my mom as well. Anyhow, Acacia, thanks so much. We are done. The action will start, and Frank Miramati will have a reprise of scratch. I almost wanted to say Chris Griffin. Frank Miramati will have the reprise of the scratch and changes in just a few moments. Have a great day.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.